everybody, welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another video. So on today's episode of Paintings and Stories Behind Them, I have a very special piece. This is a lot different than most of my artwork. I did not draw anything dead, but I did draw something kind of depressing because it represents depression. And hang on, there's a plot twist. You'll have to stay tuned to hear it. I don't know why I made that really awkward. I do that a lot. So on today's video, on today's sit down video, we're gonna talk about this piece. It's called Every Drop of the Soul. So before I created this, I've been an avid doodler. If you know, you know. If you're that kid in school that was always doodling on the side of your planner, listening to the teacher, like you're absorbing what they're saying, but you need to doodle because it kind of helps you focus better. And then maybe you kind of gaze out the window and you kind of look at a squirrel and you're like, God, I really wished I was that squirrel right now. And still to this day, 30 years old, I was doodling. Well, I wasn't 30 then because this was created in 2023. I was 29. I had to do the math on that. Before I created this piece, I was doodling in my planner and I kept drawing teardrops or like water droplets and then these lines around them. I wish I had a reference photo. Hang on, let me go check quick. Just kidding, there's candle wax in front of my filing cabinet and that looks like a fucking nightmare. So we're just gonna leave that alone, but you get the point. I was doodling it and I made this, I wanted to make this painting come to life. And so this is what it is. It's very different, obviously, in pen. I do a lot of shading with pen. This is all acrylic, but like when I'm doodling, it's all in pen, and I've shaded ever since I was a young kid. So the teardrop or water droplet here represents grief, loss, depression, all the tears shed in life, all the tears, all the trials, tribulations, all the tears that are shed from the things you go through. And I think a lot of times people really want to make us feel guilty for crying or having, you know, big emotions, or if you're somebody who's a highly sensitive person like myself and you cry a lot, there's gonna be people, maybe since you were a little kid, that gave you a lot of hell for crying a lot, but that's because you feel things intensely. And I think that that's what it represents to me anyway. It could resonate how it's supposed to. And these lines here, I don't know, I was thinking about this. It kind of feels like there's paths in life, you know, and you feel like you're never really getting anywhere, but the lines are still there. But there is beauty to life, and that's why I wanted to make it creative and colorful. And this butterfly is resting here because I feel like a lot of times in order to hear God's voice, you need solitude, you need peace and quiet, and there's so much static and there's so much noise in the world. There's so much overstimulation, especially if you're somebody who's highly sensitive. And you understand what I'm talking about if you understand. If you know kind of deal. Yeah, the butterfly is resting because there's a lot of times where I struggle with severe workaholism. And it's something I've been very honest about on my channel. I don't struggle with any other holisms other than workaholism. And a lot of times, and I'm trying to get better about this, but there's a lot of times where I know if I don't slow down, I'm gonna pay for it. Like I get sick, or I catch a cold, or something just stupid happens, or God has a way of settling me down. He knows how to slow me down, and it's usually a hard stop. And I've been trying really hard to listen to my body more, listen to my intuition more, like what do I need in the moment? Because I'm so busy. You know, when you're a nurturer, you're a caretaker, or you're somebody who has a lot of empathy, sometimes you get depleted of energy. And so this butterfly is resting in solitude, and it's just taking a moment with God, and that's kind of where you're growing. That's why there's flowers in there. You're growing, you're becoming something. It's like you already did your transformation. You were a caterpillar in a cocoon, and now you emerged as this beautiful, beautiful butterfly. And the butterfly gets tired. All butterflies do. They can only fly so long before they have to land. They can only fly so long until they have to sit down and, not sit down, but like rest and eat something, or, you know, just hang, or their wings get tired. You know, we get tired as people. Hang on, I'm gonna change my battery real quick because I know it's gonna die. All right, anyways, as I was saying, is a lot of times we find God in the darkness. We find him in our solitude, and there's a lot of times where we need moments of silence so we can hear his voice and we can follow our intuition, we can follow the guidance, because when there's all this static and noise going on around you, it's gonna be overwhelming, and you're gonna shut out that voice and continue to struggle. So that's what that means. And I put this hook in here because this is the line of hope, right? And there's a vine going around it. Kind of like when you're resting and you're growing, the vines go around that hook and that line of hope goes up. And that's your line of hope. is God. God is the hook. In my paintings, I like to represent God, kind of symbolism with the higher power. No matter if you believe in God or whatever, I don't care. I don't care what you believe in. I'm not going to judge you. I'm just saying for myself that if it wasn't for my higher power, I wouldn't be sitting here today in the condition I'm in. I was a very broken and hurt person, especially as a 20-something-year-old. My 20s were spent building and reshaping and molding myself and finding me again after a sudden loss and death in my life, and it rocked my world. It shaked it. It shaked the foundation, and it felt like the rug was drug out from underneath me. And during this time when I painted that, was that 2 years ago? I was in the most isolating period of my life. I think that was like, even like right when we started coming out of the Rona and people were coming out of isolation, I still was in isolation. I was working from home and I was healing through a lot of different things. I broke my arm. I was at a job that I didn't like, that wasn't fulfilling. It's not that it was a bad job or anything like that. It just wasn't for me. I've talked about this a lot. It's kind of what shifted my path, and Jesus take the wheel. I think, was it January of 2024 I quit my corporate 9-to-5 job. So yeah, I painted that probably 6 months before I ended up really quitting my job, and I was going through it, man. When I'm overwhelmed or I'm overstimulated, I need more solitude, because my solitude is where I find my peace. And I don't know if that's more of an introverted thing, but I need time to myself. I need time to recharge my batteries. And I've learned, especially in the last decade, that I really need to listen to that inner voice and that inner knowingness of like, hey, what do I need in this moment? And there's been a lot of people that get really upset with me, but I've spent a lot of my life just giving myself to people when I had nothing left to give. There was nothing left in the tank. I honestly don't even know how I showed up for them. I think it was because I abandoned myself, and I tried to fix people and I tried to heal them, especially in romantic relationships. And actually I created that piece like 6 months, was it 6 months after I broke up with the last guy I dated? Yeah. So I created it right after I broke up with him, and I was very sad. And I'm not sad anymore about it, obviously, but I was very sad because I don't want to share too much, but I think I've mentioned this before, but his family was amazing and they're such good people. And I felt like I belonged somewhere, and that breakup was very hard on me for a lot of different reasons. I'm not shifting the blame on anyone. It just didn't work out between us. I really think that we triggered each other a lot, and there was just some shady stuff that he was doing behind my back, and it's not that he's a bad person. He just didn't face himself, and I think I had to lose that in order to find my peace in God and really trust God. That's when I really was like, Jesus, take the wheel. I started handing my life to the higher power, and I just started to let go of things. And I still struggle with control. I think everybody does to a certain degree, but I stopped holding on and grasping so tightly to things, and I just let it go. And it was very tough for me because his mom's an amazing person, and she got me. She understood me in a lot of different ways, and I still love her to this day, and every so often I talk to her. She's an amazing person. His sister's great, his grandma, everybody. I have nothing but good things to say about that family, and I think that it was very hard for me to let that go because I love them with my entire heart, and I still do to this day because they were there. And it was hard for me to walk away from that, but I had to do what was best for me. And sometimes doing the right thing is painful. Just because you break up with someone, or just because you go separate ways, or you end a friendship, doesn't mean that it's going to be painless. It's painful. If it wasn't painful, that means it didn't mean anything to you. It meant something, and that's how you know that you got a heart inside. So I don't have any prints of this yet. In the future I will. I really want to make a sticker out of this one. I think it'd be really cool to make a circular one. I have other stickers available online, but if I make like a 2x2, I thought, drop me a comment down below. I have this idea, and I want to just do the water droplet and the butterfly on like a holographic type thing. I think that would be kind of sick. So maybe in my next sticker drop, I'll have more of those. But in the future, I will have prints, stickers, possibly greeting cards of it. Just takes money, which I will have an abundance someday, but it's just everything that I make, I stick back into what I do, and then I have bills and all that other stuff. I'm not going to bore you with the details or the stresses in my life, but I really hope you enjoyed this video and it resonated with you. The original is available for purchase on my website. It's www.rockenbakken.com. Click on the shopping tab. I have original artwork, greeting cards, stickers, prints, handmade jewelry, hand-poured candles. If you like soy candles, hit a sister up, I got you, okay? I got lots of different scents. I almost said flavors. I got all the flavors for the candles, so. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, my homages, peace to you out, have a marvelous rest of your week, and I lure you to the moon and Berg. So, bye.